In a universe dominated by an interstellar alliance, Elias Cain, a resilient human, leads a fierce resistance against their suppressors. As Earth becomes a battleground of survival, humanity challenges the very essence of power and technology. Brace for a tale where unyielding willpower meets advanced weaponry. Would you defy everything you know for the sake of freedom and justice? If you want to dive into real stories of parallel realities every day, in enigmatic, technological worlds that are completely different from our planet, subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Well, let's go. In a universe where the primal might of humanity clashes with the overwhelming force of an interstellar alliance, one might question, what if the least advanced species were the most dangerous? What if the very fabric of survival defied everything we assumed about power and technology? Journey through a tale of unyielding resistance and improbable alliances, where a resilient Earthling named Elias Cain defies the odds, leading to profound consequences. Brace yourself for a story that will keep you on edge, with revelations that promise to shock you until the last moment. Are you ready to witness how true strength and vulnerability intertwine? Stick with us to uncover the key lessons that may just change the way you view conflict and cooperation. The beginning of the story. The galaxy teemed with life, from the colossal gas giants inhabited by floating amorphous beings to the dense, metal-rich asteroids that buzzed with cyborg collectives. Further out, past the Veil Nebula, lay territories ruled by the Accord, a vast interstellar emporium known for subjugating weaker species. The Accord, a confederation of technologically superior races, maintained peace through domination, integrating planets, often by force, into their federation. One such planet, classified as insignificant within the Accord's records, was Earth, home to primitive humanity. Earth's classification had been stamped long ago, a dismissal by an alien archivist who deemed it unworthy of attention. Yet, this backwater world soon sparked the Accord's interest when reports of unauthorized human incursions into Accord territory began to surface. These incursions were accidental byproducts of human curiosity and exploration, sporadic probes and satellites venturing too far. Such exploratory attempts breached the tightly controlled Accord space, leading to the growing annoyance among the governing bodies of the Accord. The High Council, seated in the crystalline chambers of the Accord capital, debated the nuisance. Tall, ethereal beings with glowing, translucent skin and eyes that shimmered with the weight of millennia, they convened to deliberate the fate of this insignificant world. In the end, a terse decision was made. A punitive force would descend on Earth, delivering destruction to its cities in a display of overwhelming power intended to force a rapid surrender. In the early hours of dawn, across Earth, tranquility shattered as vast, silver-hulled ships punctured the atmosphere. The skies darkened with the shadows of massive warships, each emblazoned with the symbol of the Accord, an ever-watchful eye encircled by gears and stars. People gazed upwards, terror and confusion etched upon their faces. Sirens blared, and news channels flickered with scenes of chaos as the initial wave hit. Cities crumbled under the barrage, their skyscrapers reduced to dust in moments. Flameless explosions erupted with a horrifying silent intensity, obliterating vast swaths of urban life. Command centers and capitals were the first to be targeted, followed by communication hubs and military installations. The Accord's assault was surgical, designed to cripple the backbone of human resistance before it could even mobilize. Yet, amidst this destruction, a fire of unbroken will was ignited. For each building that fell, for every life lost, a new resolve was forged. In the forests and mountains, deserts and tundras, humanity began to coalesce. Subterranean bunkers, once thought relics of a bygone era, buzzed with activity. Underground networks, both the rudimentary and the highly sophisticated, linked the pockets of resistance. Civilians became soldiers overnight as humanity faced an enemy beyond comprehension, yet tangible in its onslaught. The kaleidoscope of human culture and diversity became the bedrock of this resistance. In the ruins of Paris, tech-savvy youths repurposed abandoned electronics into makeshift EMP devices. In the Amazon, tribes utilizing ancestral guerrilla tactics melded seamlessly with city-bred strategists, creating a symbiotic method of fighting back. The Siberian expanses saw remnants of archaic military units melding with survivalists to turn the permafrost into a fortress. Elias Cain emerged from these ashes, a man whose very presence commanded attention. Tall, with a rugged visage marked by scars of countless battles, his stern blue eyes spoke of endless depths of determination. Cain's tactical genius combined naturally with his ability to inspire those around him. Once an officer in a forgotten war, now a beacon of hope. Known for his unyielding spirit and extraordinary foresight, Cain became the leader of the human resistance. Under his guidance, strategies evolved. Humanity adopted guerrilla tactics, turning every landscape into a potential battlefield. In urban environments, buildings became traps, and sewer systems alternate routes of escape and attack. Rural terrains were equally fortuitous. Forests became deadlier than any alien weapon, with traps hidden beneath the leaves and every tree concealing a potential adversary. Ingenious repurposed weaponry, crafted from the debris of a shattered civilization, gained infamy among the Accord's ranks. The skirmishes were never large-scale, they couldn't be. Cain knew well the importance of mobility and surprise. Hit hard, vanish, and hit again became the mantra of the resistance. Small cells of fighters executed precise strikes against supply convoys, communication outposts, and isolated battalions. To the Accord, who valued order and predictability, humans were becoming an unpredictable nightmare. Their grit and adaptability were qualities the technologically superior Accord found challenging to undermine. Despite the Accord's advanced weaponry and vast resources, they found themselves in a prolonged conflict, their once assured victory slipping away into a quagmire of resistance. The Accord's cruiser captains, trained for overwhelming force, were confounded by the seeming randomness of human attacks. Conventional warfare strategies failed to stamp out these defiant pockets. Every day stretched the Accord's forces thinner, their morale waning in the face of a determined enemy who refused to accept the fate expected of a lesser species. The humans turned the corded roots of their forests and the twisted wreckage of their cities into arenas of resolute defiance. The terrain, once a map of conquest, now pulsed with tension. Every forward step by Accord troops was a gambit of fear, for somewhere, in the shadows or beneath their feet, resistance fighters lurked. Each clash between the two sides became a living testament to human adaptability and tenacity, a narrative of relentless will battling cold efficiency. As the briefings in the Accord war rooms grew grim, the commanders could not help but feel a growing respect intermingled with frustration for their human counterparts. These were not the primitive beings classified as insignificant, but a resurgent force driven by an undying spirit, capable of turning every disadvantage into an ember of defiance. This is merely the beginning of Cain's epic stand, a struggle that would reshape perceptions of power and redefine the essence of resistance. Stay until the end to discover how this magnificent and epic story will conclude, urging you to rethink the core of survival, power, and unyielding will. The wind howled through the desolate streets of the once vibrant metropolis, now a shell of its former self. Rubble and debris from the Accord's relentless bombardment scarred the landscape, painting a grim picture of humanity's struggle for survival. In the heart of this devastation stood Elias Cain, a man whose presence exuded determination and resolve. Elias was not a man who would back down. His strategic mind and innate charisma had made him the de facto leader of the human resistance. Clad in a makeshift uniform cobbled together from remnants of military gear, Elias embodied the spirit of the resistance. His piercing blue eyes scanned the horizon, ever vigilant for signs of the enemy. Behind him, a ragtag group of fighters awaited his orders. These were not seasoned soldiers but ordinary people, teachers, engineers, students, who had taken up arms to defend their home. The Accord, a coalition of advanced alien civilizations, had underestimated the ingenuity and tenacity of humans. They had assumed their superior technology would make quick work of Earth's defenses. But Elias had turned every disadvantage into an opportunity. The Resistance's guerrilla tactics had proven remarkably effective against the technologically superior invaders. Every skirmish, every ambush, was meticulously planned, exploiting the terrain to its fullest. In the shadow of a crumbling skyscraper, Elias gathered his team for a briefing. Holographic projections flickered to life, displaying detailed maps of the city and troop movements. The Resistance had managed to hack into the Accord's communication network, giving them a valuable edge. The Accord's patrols have increased in this sector, Elias pointed to a red highlighted area on the map. They're trying to cut off our supply lines. We need to hit them hard and fast before they tighten their grip. His second in command, a wiry woman named Dr. Aisha Patel, nodded in agreement. Aisha was a former AI scientist, and her knowledge of technology had been invaluable to the Resistance. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail, and her brown eyes gleamed with determination. "We've got a stash of explosives here," Aisha indicated a warehouse marked on the map. "We can rig the place to blow and take out their patrol when they come sniffing around." Elias nodded. "Make it happen. We'll split into 2 teams. One will set the charges, the other will lay an ambush. Timing is crucial. We hit them hard, then disappear before they can retaliate." As the teams moved out, the air was thick with tension. Every corner of the ruined city held potential danger. The Accord's drones patrolled the skies, their scanning beams sweeping over the terrain. Elias's group moved with practiced stealth, blending into the urban jungle. At the designated warehouse, Aisha and her team got to work. The explosives were carefully placed, each one wired to a central detonator. Meanwhile, Elias and his group set up their ambush points, hidden in the shadows of collapsed buildings and overgrown foliage. The sound of approaching footsteps echoed through the streets. Elias signaled his team to hold their positions. The Accord patrol, a squad of alien soldiers, marched into the trap. They were tall and imposing, their armor reflecting the cold, metallic efficiency of their technology. Their eyes, a chilling shade of silver, scanned the area for threats. A sudden explosion rocked the warehouse, sending debris flying in all directions. The Accord soldiers were thrown off balance, struggling to regain their footing. That was the moment Elias had been waiting for. "Now!" he shouted, and the Resistance fighters opened fire. The ensuing battle was chaotic and brutal. The Accord soldiers, caught off guard, fought back with their energy weapons, but the humans' guerrilla tactics gave them the upper hand. Elias moved through the battlefield with precision, taking down enemies with his modified assault rifle. His team fought with a mix of desperation and determination, knowing that every enemy they killed was a step closer to securing their freedom. But the fight was far from over. Reinforcements from the Accord quickly arrived, turning the tide of the battle. The Resistance's ambush worked initially, but they were now outnumbered and outgunned. Elias ordered a retreat, firing the signal flare that called for a tactical withdrawal. The Resistance fighters melted back into the urban ruins, leaving behind a trail of destruction and confusion. The skirmish had been a small victory, but it was a testament to the human spirit. Elias knew that their struggle was far from over. The Accord was relentless, and every encounter was a test of their endurance and resilience. As the resistance regrouped in their hidden base, Elias and Aisha pored over the tactical data. They had inflicted significant damage on the Accord patrol, but the cost had been high. Several fighters were injured, and their resources were dwindling. "We can't keep this up forever," Aisha said, her voice tinged with frustration. "The Accord will only tighten their grip. We need a new strategy." Elias nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. The key to their survival lay in their ability to adapt and outthink their technologically superior foes. They had to stay one step ahead, anticipating the Accord's moves and exploiting their weaknesses. "The Accord relies heavily on their technology," Elias mused. "If we can disrupt their communication and supply lines, we can create chaos within their ranks. We need to hit their command centers, their infrastructure. Make them feel the pressure from all sides." Aisha's eyes lit up with a spark of inspiration. "I might be able to hack into their central network, plant false data, create confusion. But we'll need a team to infiltrate their base and plant the necessary devices." Elias's mind was already forming a plan. They had to strike at the heart of the Accord's operations, destabilizing their control over the city. It was a risky move, but desperate times called for desperate measures. As the days turned into nights, the resistance prepared for their most audacious operation yet. They gathered intelligence, mapped out the Accord's command centers, and selected a team of the most skilled fighters. The plan was set in motion, a delicate dance of strategy and deception. Elias stood before his team, his voice steady and resolute. "This is our chance to turn the tide. We strike hard, we strike fast. We show the Accord that humanity will not be broken." The team moved out under the cover of darkness, navigating the labyrinthine ruins with precision. They reached the Accord's command center, a heavily fortified building guarded by advanced security systems. Aisha's hacking skills came into play, disabling the surveillance and opening a path for the infiltration team. Inside, the tension was palpable. The air hummed with the low thrum of machinery and the distant voices of Accord officers. The resistance fighters moved with calculated stealth, planting devices and gathering critical data. Every second felt like an eternity, every sound a potential threat. As they completed their mission, Elias signaled for the extraction. The war stretches on, and desperation propels the Accord towards extreme measures. Their once unshakable confidence has turned into a simmering frustration, infiltrating the ranks of their forces. The humans have proven more resilient, their tenacity a constant thorn in the side of the technologically advanced oppressors. With each passing skirmish, the Earth-born guerrillas weave deeper into the fabric of chaos, turning every corner of their planet into a well-calculated ambush. Elias Cain, the spearhead of humanity's resistance, gathers his guerrilla units in a hidden base deep beneath the surface of what was once a bustling city. This underground labyrinth, lit dimly by salvaged power sources, hums with urgency and innovation. Maps and screens flicker with data and coordinates, projecting the complexity of their next audacious plan, a network of subterranean explosions designed to cripple the Accord's primary terrestrial base. The mood is one of cautious optimism, the air thick with the adrenaline of impending action. Cain moves through the base with an almost palpable energy, a burning drive illuminating his eyes with a fierce determination that infects everyone around him. Each member of the resistance knows they are part of something monumental. They are not merely fighting for survival but for the sanctity of their world and identity. In stark contrast to the makeshift yet sophisticated preparations of the humans, the Accord's base is a paragon of alien engineering, sleek and sterile. Metallic surfaces gleam under artificial lighting. Complex machinery hums with a synchronous efficiency that speaks to years of technological dominance. Despair seeps into the minds of the Accord's soldiers as reports of losses and human defiance flood in. Used to swift, decisive victories, they're now mired into an unexpected quagmire. High Commander Velka Ariad of the Accord stands at the helm, a figure of stern authority and unyielding commitment. Her eyes, icy blue and calculative, scan the tactical holographs, formulating their next move. Despite the overwhelming force at her disposal, she is keenly aware of the shifting tide. The realization sinks in: humanity refuses to bow, and extreme measures are required to squash this insurrection. Thus, she authorizes a massive orbital bombardment designed to eliminate human resistance by obliterating Earth's major underground hubs. Above the planet, Accord's colossal orbital platforms align, preparing to unleash a storm of destruction. The readiness of technologies so advanced they could paralyze civilizations is a daunting sight, yet the humans on the surface hold their resolve. Cain's lieutenants, including savvy tactician Mila Thorne and seasoned warrior Jackson Reed, oversee the coordination of their counter-offensive. Their plan leans heavily on the element of surprise, using the enemy's own arrogance against them. As preparations finalize, Cain broadcasts a message to rally the remaining resistance cells scattered across the scarred planet. His voice, charged with commanding authority and hardened resolve, spreads a message of unwavering defiance and unity. His words weave a tapestry of hope and strength, urging everyone to hold the line and prepare for the climax of their valiant struggle. Then, it happens. The night sky above Earth erupts into blinding light as the orbital bombardment begins. Streaks of energy pierce through the atmosphere, leaving fiery trails in their wake. But humanity's response is immediate. Beneath the surface, Cain gives the signal, and the subterranean networks spring to life. Detonations ripple out in a wave, converging with a precision that marks the height of human ingenuity. Explosions tear through the Accord's terrestrial base, shaking it to its very core. The ground quakes with the fury of the human counterattack. In a catastrophic instant, advanced alien facilities crumble, their imposing structures rendered rubble by the sheer force of defiance. Panic infiltrates the Accord's ranks as control slips through their technologically adept fingers. The giant has been struck a mighty blow, its armor cracked by the stone-throwing Davids of Earth. Chaos reigns in the aftermath. The Accord's forces, thrown into disarray, struggle to regroup. High Commander Velka Ariad, witnessing the devastation of her primary base, realizes the monumental gravity of Cain's strategic brilliance. She knows the time for a quick victory has passed. They're now entrenched in a war they vastly underestimated. As the tempo of battle slows, a tense silence blankets the ruined landscape. Humanity stands on the precipice of victory, teetering between remaining hidden in their subterranean sanctuaries or rising to reclaim their shattered cities. The adrenaline that fueled their counterattack ebbs, leaving room for reflection amidst the chaos. Their generation battered, their resolve unbroken, they see glimpses of what they are truly fighting for, not just survival, but the freedom to define their own destiny. Above, the damaged orbital platforms retreat, a grim testament to the resilience of Earth's defenders. The skies momentarily clear, hinting at a brief reprieve after the storm. The Resistance's leaders congregate around Cain, a quiet awe reflecting their realization of what they've achieved. Despite the immediate triumph, everyone senses a foreboding tranquility, the eye of the storm, a deceptive calm before the inevitable resurgence of their foes. Below the quiet surface, humanity steels itself for the next wave. Elias Cain walks among his people, imparting words of encouragement and shared purpose. Each survivor reflects the embodiment of the unconquerable human spirit, a legacy of resilience passed down through countless generations. They are far from the end, with challenges yet to face and battles yet to be won. Their momentary triumph, however substantial, is but a chapter in an ongoing saga. The Accord, mighty and vengeful, won't accept defeat without a relentless pursuit of victory. Earth's defenders ready themselves for what lies ahead, knowing the tides of war ebb and flow. Yet, the indomitable will that binds them provides strength to face the approaching darkness. Back in the Accord's remaining strongholds, High Commander Velka Ariad deliberates on her next course. Her icy demeanor hardens further, a reflection of the grim recognition that the humans, despite their primitive status, are formidable adversaries. The setbacks they've dealt the Accord demand a measured but powerful response, one that will reshape the theater of war and test the limits of both sides. With cryptic messages relayed to her superior officers, she sets into motion a plan, a countermeasure shrouded in mystery and cold calculation. The Accord's retaliation will be concise and devastating, a paddle on the precipice of human endurance and valor. The human spirit, tested against the relentless tide of their oppressors, prepares for a battle that will echo through the annals of interstellar conflict. The subterranean lights flicker with the weight of anticipation. The Resistance readies its next phase, aware that the coming days will bring trials that they have yet to imagine. The unfolding saga of survival and defiance sets the stage for an epic confrontation, the true substance of which remains obscured in the mists of fateful uncertainty. In the dim glow of twilight, the remnants of Earth's defense forces gathered in what once was a bustling city center, now reduced to rubble and dust by the relentless assault from the Accord. The surroundings bore silent testimony to the devastating clash between the resilient humans and the technologically superior invaders. The acrid smell of burning metal lingered in the air, while hastily erected defensive barricades cast long shadows, hinting at the engulfing darkness of war. Elias Cain stood at the forefront, his eyes scanning the horizon, reflecting a cauldron of determination and fatigue. His distinctive, battle-worn armor bore the marks of innumerable skirmishes, providing a stark contrast to the polished, sleek suits of the Accord soldiers they had faced. The charismatic leader of the human resistance was a figure of unparalleled tenacity, his presence a beacon of hope among the tired and harrowed faces of his comrades. Surrounding him, the core unit of the human resistance bustled with frenetic energy. An engineer, Yara, was hunched over a table cluttered with maps and blueprints, her dexterous fingers working tirelessly to integrate scavenged Accord technology into newfound weaponry. Her sharp mind was a critical element in repurposing the enemy's technology against them. The rough fabric of her makeshift uniform was stained with oil and grime, her short-cropped hair sticking to her forehead in matted clumps. Nearby, Marcus Durand, a former military tactician turned guerrilla strategist, reviewed tactical overlays with a furrowed brow. His previously pristine uniform was now a patchwork of repairs, the insignias almost unrecognizable. The weight of their situation bore heavily upon his shoulders, and yet, his austere demeanor masked an undercurrent of resolute defiance. The encrypted communication lines crackled with fragmented reports from various resistance cells spread across the devastated cityscape. Each message told tales of skirmishes and strategic retreats, conveying the undying spirit that refused to bow down. The terrain had become a chessboard of ambushes and fortifications, each alleyway and blockhouse a potential hotspot of resistance. Elias activated a holographic map, projecting a three-dimensional model of the city. It flickered with red and blue markers indicating positions of the Accord's forces and human resistance, respectively. He pointed to a series of underground tunnels mapped out beneath the enemy's primary emplacement. "We'll use these tunnels to surprise them from beneath," Elias said, his voice cutting through the murmur of strategizing. "Our objective: destabilize their command center. Yara has modified the EMP generator to disable their shields temporarily. That will be our window." The plan was audacious, the kind of risk that had kept the resistance in the game against a technologically superior adversary. With preparations complete, the unit moved with practiced silence through the ruins, slipping into the shadows of an interconnected tunnel network that had once been the city's lifeblood. As they progressed, the tunnels echoed with the faint sound of dripping water and the low hum of distant generators, a stark contrast to the cacophony of battle above ground. Navigating through the subterranean maze, the resistance fighters shared terse nods and silent reassurances, their expressions steeled for the imminent confrontation. Finally, they reached a cavernous subsection just below the Accord's command center. Yara and her team swiftly positioned the EMP device, their movements efficient and precise despite the adrenaline coursing through their veins. The device hummed to life, its readouts displaying a countdown that sent shivers through the group. Elias took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on him. "Brace for detonation," he commanded, his voice calm yet resolute. "This is it, make it count." Above the surface, an eerie quiet momentarily engulfed the battlefield as the EMP blast rippled through the Accord's defenses. The shields sputtered and failed, leaving the once impenetrable command center exposed. Time seemed to elongate, each heartbeat echoing in Elias's ears as the strike force breached the surface, erupting into the heart of enemy territory. Chaos reigned as the resistance launched their assault. Accord soldiers, disoriented by the sudden loss of their defenses, scrambled to mount a counterattack. Laser fire crisscrossed the smoke-laden air, punctuating the guttural shouts and explosions that followed. Within this maelstrom, Elias moved with calculated precision, his every strike a dance of survival against the formidable adversaries. Marcus, right at his side, coordinated the attack with an expert eye for opportunity, directing flanking maneuvers and pinpoint strikes that maximized their limited resources. Each interaction bore the hallmarks of his military training, honed now to a razor's edge by the ordeal of guerrilla warfare. The battle raged with primal intensity. Yara, amidst the chaos, worked to overheat and disable the command center's core systems. Sparks flew as she forced open control panels, her focus unbroken despite the pandemonium around her. The sheer improbability of their mission's success only fueled her determination, each proficient movement a testament to her unwavering resolve. Elias's mind oscillated between strategic overviews and the immediacy of combat. His thoughts brushed against the memories of lost comrades, their sacrifices echoing in every move he made. Each fallen resistance fighter had become a part of his resolve, their spirits driving him forward. Just as the Accord's forces began to regain their footing, a critical breakthrough occurred. Their command center's core systems faltered, power surges cascading through their networks. Elias seized the moment, rallying his fighters for one last, definitive push. The melee entered its climactic throes as the tide began to turn. Accord troops, their cohesion fracturing, found themselves overwhelmed by the sheer ferocity and unyielding determination of the human fighters. Elias led the charge, his voice both a rallying cry and a promise that echoed the unbroken will of humanity. Their final act of defiance culminated in the collapse of the Accord's command center, a cataclysmic event that sent shockwaves through the alien military hierarchy. The enemy, finally realizing the futility of their conquest, began a hasty withdrawal, their once menacing vessels retreating from Earth's beleaguered skies. As the dust settled, an almost surreal silence enveloped the battlefield. Elias gazed at the retreating figures, a sense of triumphant exhaustion settling over him. The cost had been staggering, but the message resounded clear. Humanity was a force to be reckoned with, an indomitable spirit capable of rising against even the most formidable of foes. Amidst the scattered debris and the battered faces of the remaining fighters, there lingered a newfound sense of hope. The reverberations of their struggle would ripple through the cosmos, a tale of resistance that would inspire future generations. Yara and Marcus joined Elias, their expressions a mix of relief and solemn reflection. In the twilight of an age marked by perpetual conflict, the fragile truce between humanity and the Accord evolves into an uneasy alliance against a new threat, the Reavers. Awash in biotechnological malevolence, these biomechanical entities pose an existential threat to all life forms in the known universe. The Reavers thrive on assimilation, combining organic life and machinery into grotesque assimilations, sweeping across the galaxy with a cold, relentless efficiency. This alliance, born of sheer necessity and forged in adversity, is punctuated by mutual distrust and lingering grievances. However, the combined human ingenuity and the Accord's technological supremacy form a precarious yet formidable front against the Reaver onslaught. What follows is a series of cataclysmic battles that lay bare the grotesque cost of survival. Each clash brims with the haunting echoes of past wars, but now augmented by an even darker nemesis. Each human Accord regiment faces unfathomable peril on the cosmic battlefield. As skirmishes burgeon into full-blown wars, the casualties mount on both sides. Yet, necessity forces rapid evolution. The Human Accord Alliance delves into biotechnological enhancements to survive. Bioengineered suits melding human nervous systems with Accord interface technology become commonplace. Soldiers, now part machine, part human, adorn their grotesque forms with poignant reminders of their former selves, faces marred by circuitry and synthetic flesh. These warriors wield hybrid weapons, their screams resonating in both mechanical and organic timbers as they charge into the fray. The Alliance's counterattacks are carefully calculated but profoundly desperate. The Reavers, seemingly unstoppable, drive waves of terror through the ranks of their opponents. Entire star systems flicker out of existence, absorbed by the Reavers' insatiable hunger, rendering the fabric of reality itself pliant under their vile influence. Planets become graveyards, orbiting debris fields littered with shattered spacecraft and the echoing remains of failed resistances. In the midst of this cosmic maelstrom stands Elias Cain, a beacon of resilience and tenacity. His tactical genius, once purely analog, now dances among the threads of biotechnological warfare. Cain's fiery determination is coupled with an interface that allows his thoughts to command entire squadrons instantaneously. He leads with a fervor that borders on the fanatical, knowing full well that retreat equates to extinction. A defining moment arises at the Battle of High Vega, where Cain orchestrates an audacious assault against the Reaver hive. Utilizing cloaked human Accord vessels, Cain's battalion maneuvers through treacherous asteroid fields and swirling nebulas, amassing at the hive's weak point. As the decisive clash erupts, the very cosmos seems to shudder. Space itself appears rip apart as beams of pure energy and hyper-accelerated particles slice through the inky void, explosive detonations illuminating the scene like apocalyptic fireworks. Navigating through the cacophony of destruction, Cain reaches the hive's heart. It throbs with a sinister luminescence, a testament to the Reavers' intrinsic fusion of biology and technology. In a desperate gambit, Human Accord engineers initialize a cascade failure within their own biotechnological hybrid systems, intending to overload the hive's neural nexus. The result is a cataclysmic implosion of unimaginable magnitude, detonating with a resonance felt across galaxies. As the hive collapses, a luminous wave courses through the star system, annihilating Reaver forces in an expanding sphere of brilliant energy. The Coalition's hybrid ships, adorned with the battle scars of relentless war, retreat as the shockwave pushes them to the edge of existence. For a moment, serenity reigns amidst the cosmic debris. When the dust settles, the scope of their sacrifice comes into stark relief. The survivors, now unrecognizable amalgamations of flesh and metal, stand as both saviors and stark warnings. Their figures, cast in ghostly silhouettes against the cosmic backdrop, symbolize the grotesque irony of an evolution driven by unyielding conflict. Hauntingly, their visages mirror the monstrosities they swore to destroy. The few remaining hybrid soldiers establish a fragile new order, a bleak reflection of past glories tainted by perpetual war. As civilizations rebuild, the lessons of their nightmarish ordeal reverberate through time and space. True survival does not rest upon brute force but upon the sagacity to evade paths leading to self-destruction. The grotesque, hybrid beings, born from the crucible of endless war, stand as eternal monuments of this profound truth. Their existence poses a cautionary tale, a stark epitaph warning against the temptations of unchecked power and ceaseless conflict. As the Alliance disbands, and the galaxies slowly bind their wounds, an indelible truth persists. Humanity and the Accord have tasted the bitter fruit of their relentless strife. The key to their survival lay not in technological supremacy but in the audacious wisdom to abandon hubristic paths. United not by their differences, but by a shared destiny, they pave the way for a future where unity and foresight preserve their legacy amid the stars. In this vast, ever-changing universe, the greatest threats often arise from within. The epic journey through conflict and reconciliation reveals that wisdom, not might, ensures endurance. And so, history remembers this turbulent epic as a testament to the resilience and wisdom that shapes the cosmos, leaving us to ponder the essence of true power, resistance, and evolution. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.